All right, halftime at the G1C, final game of the season. 57-54, Sacramento in the lead. Ryan in Sacktown, joined by Jerry Reynolds. Happy Masters Sunday to you, my friend.
Yeah. I love watching golf. Obviously, Masters is the best, and I'm a Rory McIlroy fan, and he's currently ahead. I don't know if how it's going to play out, but anyway, yeah. And then of course we get to see a little Kings basketball, kind of the end of the season. A lot of games, and a lot of them don't mount to anything,
Yeah,
and some of them really do.
very true. And Jerry, I'm not joking here when I say this is one of the better starts I can remember for the Kings with an early game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, boy, the shooting was just brilliant,
Yes.
wasn't it? The 3-point shooting, and the Kings bigs. I mean, Domas and Valanciunas just totally dominant in their minutes, and the 3-point shooting in that. I think that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, great three-point shooting. And I think something we need to remember about this Phoenix team, Jerry, is although it's the other guys that quote unquote don't play a lot, Phoenix's stars miss a lot of time. So these guys have some chemistry together.
Yeah, I was going to say they might play together about as much as they do with the. I mean, because yeah, you're right. The key guys, other than Booker, I mean, he seems pretty consistently on the floor. But Durant and Bradley Beal, but yeah, these guys and they're I'm not surprised they're playing pretty well. I mean, because I mean they're playing for
Sure.
jobs, a lot of them,
It's a
and getting an opportunity to play, and they're fresh, got fresh legs. Uh, every player in the NBA's got talent, or they wouldn't be there.
maybe the Kings amplified that talent. Grayson Allen, dribble drive from the top of the key to the hoop. Jared, not exactly in his repertoire usually.
No, he's an awfully good player. I think a very underrated player. But as you say, that would not be if you said the top 10 things he does well. That wouldn't make it.
Would not. Before we started the halftime show, Jerry and I were talking and reminiscing about some other players doing our own show. So that kind of falls in line right there with that. Kings up 3 here at the half. Zach LaVine scored 10 points in about 4 minutes in the first quarter, and then nothing after that. Jerry?
Yeah, they here again. I mean, Zach was brilliant, and I think that's a thing for the Kings to keep in mind. Coach Christie and his staff is make sure he's involved. I mean, he really should be more involved in the offense because not only can he score, but he draws a lot of attention, and it can make it makes the ball move easier if he's got it in his hands a little more often.
Very true. And some of those, a lot of the fans asking about Jonas Valanciunas and his minutes, spectacular there, as you mentioned in the first half in the paint, 12 points, 5 rebounds.
But yeah, he was just dominant, and between he and Domas, I mean, they're just killing him inside. And then of course Domas shooting the three. I mean, of course, very underrated 3-point shooter. I mean, Domas, nobody around the league seems to understand that he's been over 40% all year with the three ball. But there again, I guess my one thought with Valanciunas is the last game they played, those two guys together, Domas and Valanciunas, played a little bit of zone for a few minutes. Thought it looked pretty good. I really think that's going forward into the next season. That could be a real bonus for this team. You could be really big and still be able to spread the floor and shoot.
Well, Jerry, Dallas sitting most of their guys. We are playing Dallas. It's only a matter of whether it's in Sacramento or whether it's going to be in Texas. Are you going to need the double big lineup when you're playing Gafford, Davis, and Lively?
I think you might. Yeah, if all those guys are available to go, I think it's going to be tough. I mean, just for Domas to play 40 minutes and then Valanciunas 8, I think at times you're going to have that second big on the floor. And I think that's probably what Coach Christie and his staff thinking as they, tried to trot out that zone a little bit just to get used to it possibly, because I could see where against Dallas it could be very valuable.
No doubt. Speaking of Dallas, so the scenarios are the Kings win, the game is in Sacramento. Dallas loses, the game is in Sacramento. Dallas currently down 15 in Memphis right now. That one in the late stages of the second quarter. So looking like the Kings will most likely be in Sacramento. I want to ask a couple bigger picture questions for you. You talked about Domas shooting the three ball really well. Why does he look so hesitant from the mid-range, though?
Yeah, that's I think he's just always thinking in terms of finding 3-point shooters when he's in the mid range, which as opposed to just looking to take that 15-footer. And he's obviously good there
Yeah.
with it. But I think it's part of the offensive thinking. Is that spray the ball, look for the threes. But I think that here again, that's something that's on him. I think more than anything else.
No doubt about it. 57-54. Kings lead here at the half. Game 82. Jerry, I can't believe it. We're already through another 82 games.
No, it seemed like it's been about 150 actually.
So true.
I mean, with this team, up and down, sideways, all the things that's happened, and coaching changes, trades, midseason stuff, look great for a week or two, look bad for a week or two. So, yeah, I'm kind of ready for it to end, to be honest, and let's just see what this team can do in the play in, and hope for the
Yeah,
best.
I'm with you. Your best path, I think, Jerry, is getting Memphis in the second game.
Oh, absolutely agree. I think they'd have a real solid chance if they can get past Dallas, which I think they can, obviously. But I think they can beat the Grizzlies now. They've got their own little issues, coaching
Yep.
changes, and John Morant's always a drama queen a little bit. So, some of those things. So, I like that. I would like that matchup. That's probably about the only one I really would like,
I'm with you.
to be
I'm with you.
truthful.
And a lot still to be settled in the West, which is why all teams in the West tipped off at 12:30. The Eastern Conference is already set in stone. That was done coming into play today. Jerry, you got to call a game a couple of nights ago, which many of our fans were extremely excited about. Devin Carter is a guy that you got to see for the first time really in person. What were your thoughts on him?
I tell you what, he has ability to change a game a little bit. He's a little bit like Keon Ellis defensively. Now he's not smart at that right now. He'll get there, but he's physical. He's long. He really likes to be contact, and a great rebounder for a guard. Starting to make that moon ball
Yes.
a little bit. You're starting to see that. I think he's going to be really good. I mean, he's a combo guard on a team that has about 10 combo guards.
That
But
few. I thought there was more than
but
that, Jerry.
but I think there's a real, because I think defensively, you can see with this team, as he comes along with, certainly Keon and Keegan Murray and Laravia, if they're able to keep him, you got a kind of a basis for a defensive
Sure,
team.
absolutely. I mean, look at what makes the Clippers so good. They switch 1 through 5. And
Yeah.
not saying those 3 can do it all the time, 1 through 5, but you bring in another guy, it's 3 and D defensive minded, you're getting closer and closer to that, and that's what is really the best defense in the NBA that you can play.
Yeah, boy, you're right on it. I mean, that's just kind of like one more long, athletic defensive piece. Would really make all the difference. I think with this team could make them a serious contender in the
No doubt.
West.
So I have a question because it came up on some of our shows earlier this week about Devin Carter and his first step. You saw it firsthand. Do you think he has a quick first step? How would you describe his first step?
I think it's above
Okay.
average. I don't think we're not talking John Morant or Trey Young or anything here. I don't think, or De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I don't think he has that kind of explosiveness. But he's, for his position, I'd say he's well above
Okay.
average.
So there you go. Everybody that's been asking that, it looks like a long first step to me. He covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's I think that's the big thing. And then, like I say, just the length that he has. If he can just get a half a step past somebody, his length gets him a little further. I think he's one of those guys that's 6'3", but really 6'6".
Sure.
Kind of. I mean, I've always thought some of the great defenders in the past have had that body type. The Tony Allens, uh, uh, Smart from Boston when he was at his
Yeah.
peak. Those body
No
types.
doubt about it. All right, Tony, you have been asking this question all season. I'm going to put it in front of Jerry. Jerry, why don't more players use the backboard?
Boy, that's a great question, and it's ridiculous that they don't. You're exactly right. That used to be a staple, honestly. You go back to, of course, the UCLA teams of John Wooden. That was something that was just part of what they did from certain angles on the floor. I grew up that way. You use the backboard from certain spots on the floor, and now you just don't see it. It's kind of a lost art. Kind of like the big sweeping hook.
Yes.
You know, you don't see that. And that used to be the big sweeping hook off the backboard, which was basically an unguardable
Right.
shot.
If you're trying to block it, most time you're getting wrist and getting called for the foul when it's done the right way.
Yeah, to get to it, you almost got to go through the body. Now, obviously Kareem skyhook was the best, but that wasn't not many guys can do that. But a lot of guys, back 40, 50 years ago had as any postman would have the big full
Yep,
hook.
absolutely.
And that's a great question. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. You know, it's went by the way of the dodo bird, I guess. I don't know.
What are you looking for here in this second half outside the obvious of a W?
Don't get anybody hurt and win the game. That's it, really. Because I honestly, I don't think it matters. You're going to play Dallas, and I think this team is as good on the road as they are at
Yeah,
home, which they've proven. So, I guess just from a fan standpoint, which I am, is that I want them to win, but I really don't think it's any particular advantage to be at home. I wish it was. It
sure.
should be, but we know from watching the last 2 years, it hasn't
It
been.
has not been. The Kings have played decent in Dallas the last couple seasons. So either way, this team's rolling in. First Dallas, and they've just got to get it done. I mean, to sit here and think about the Kings even having an opportunity to play in with everything this fan base has been through this season and possibly a game at home is really incredible to think about, Jared.
It is. I think Coach Christie. I think he's done a marvelous job. I don't know how it's all going to play out. I have no input there, but to be an interim coach, and he really did change the team for the better during that stint. And then they traded. Made a lot of trades and changes, and he's got a totally different team
Yeah.
now. And I do think that it's starting to kind of click in to where they're clearly a better team than they were a few weeks ago. And my sense is that with the talent, I like the talent. If you could just maybe make one addition and have time to put it together, make a few changes, there's reason for some optimism. I'm not saying, but a few things have to happen. I don't think you could just run it back with the same
Right.
guys.
And I think you hit the nail on the head about starting to click here and there. The last couple weeks, I felt like the guys were running two spots as opposed to reading the floor. And that comes more as you get comfortable with each other and understand where people are going to get. And that pass from DeRozan to Sabonis in the first half was just a spectacular one there in the lane.
Yeah, he's got passing skills. I mean, I think there again, I think they could use him a little more. He draws attention, to use his passing. And then conversely, I do think as we've seen the season unfold, Domas and Zach LaVine are really getting on the same
Yes.
page. And that's a good page to be on.
Completely agree. All right. It's that time, Jer, for the 82nd game of the year. You going Kings, you going Suns.
Kings 118,
All
111.
right. Kings 118, 111. I'm going Kings as well. Second half underway from Sacktown. Jerry will not be back. He's going to be watching the back nine of the Masters, but I will be back after.
I probably have.
Right. I've got it on right next. I'm pulling the napes right now, Jer. I got two screens going on.
Yeah.
And doing a show.
Well, that's what I try to do. I'm not near as good at it as Napes, but nobody is.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you for these half times, and we can't thank you enough, my friend.
Thank you. Enjoyed it, and we'll be ready for the play.
Yes, indeed. Buddy. We'll be all over that. Good job by Jerry. Good job by all of you in the chat. We are back after the game talking about the fallout. Is it a beam? Is it a bust? Either way, Kings, Mavericks playing Wednesday. We start breaking it down right here. Make sure you join us taking your calls as well on If You Don't Like That.